Say, bro, that woman is going to be soft with you when she feels safe with you. It's really that simple. Y'all be wanting a woman to give you all the softest versions of her, softest responses to you, give you all of the fruits basically of a woman who has been made to feel safe, and she doesn't have to worry or look over her shoulder for the next attack or for the next situation that may put her in harm or threaten her mental or emotional wellness. Like, you get those things when you first do what you're supposed to do. The masculine energy is always the first and foremost thing that has to be established. It's survival mode. It's why we are on the front lines when it comes to wars and all these other things, right? Like, God made Adam first, right? And then the femininity comes in. Once that is in place, and there's no more worry about survival, protection, any of those things. The same thing goes in a relationship. The femininity comes afterwards. That's why a woman, she will be in her masculine if there's no masculine energy already established in a safe way. She's going to establish survival. She's going to establish that she's protected. She's going to establish that she ain't got to look over her shoulders. And so she can suppress her femininity, and a lot of times they have to, if there's no masculine energy to take care of things. So whenever you come in, if you're not a masculine man, if you're not establishing the masculine safety net, like if you're not that, what do you expect from your woman? For her to laugh at all your jokes and want to be sexual with you and maximize everything you got going on and use her intuition to see when you're not your best self and how she can recharge you? Like, where did y'all learn? Who taught y'all this? Help me understand. Somebody let me know, where's the handbook that told dudes they would get this? It's like putting a goldfish in a desert and being mad that it doesn't swim. You don't just get the fruits, get the benefits of anything. You have to create the environment for it to flow. You have to. The same thing goes with a woman. There's a lot of women out here, they don't even know the most feminine version of themselves because they've never been around a truly masculine man long enough to be able to trust that. They're around men who are out here demanding that a woman be soft while creating an environment that requires her to be bulletproof. You want her vulnerability, but you're the biggest threat to her peace. Why would you be vulnerable in a situation? If God forbid, if you ever in a situation where there's an active shooter on the premises of wherever you're at, how would you describe your demeanor? How would you describe your energy? Are you carefree? Are you chill? Are you laid back? Are you able to have good, engaging conversation? Are you horny? No. You are on guard. So is your woman when you're the active shooter. When your emotional outbursts is the active shooter. When your lack of discipline with other women is the active shooter. You create an environment where she has to be on guard. Here's what your fragile ego doesn't understand. And that's that a woman's softness isn't a subscription service you're entitled to. It is a premium experience you have to earn. Straight up, it is a premium experience you have to earn. Her femininity isn't a Netflix password she owes you. It's VIP access that requires you to prove you won't abuse that privilege. You can't emotionally jeopardize a woman Monday through Friday and expect her to be soft when the weekend comes. Ladies, I know I'm speaking on behalf of y'all. In a sense, well, really, I'm speaking on behalf of any man who gets it and wants the best out of his woman. But if I'm speaking facts, put facts down in the comments, please. If what I'm saying is facts, put facts down in the comments. And after a certain age, you don't even got time, tolerance, patience to be teaching men these things. And so, especially if you're over the age of 40, it don't mean that nothing is over with for you. Actually, your best years can be after 40 if you use the right strategies. You don't have to deal with this kind of thing. I talked about that in my video. I call it my best free advice for women over 40 because I give you the exact strategy you need That's different than how you dated in your 20s. Those of y'all, you 20, 25 years old, you can kind of go through a man through certain growing pains, but after a certain age and lived experiences, one, you don't have to. Two, you probably don't have the tolerance. And if you're a woman that's trying to date a man who's equally yoked with you in terms of maturity and you're 40 plus years old, you're 40 plus years old and you want to date a man who's 40 plus years old, at least mentally, I highly, highly encourage you to check out my free video. It's not even 10 minutes long. I put the link down there. Just comment the word mature and I'll send it to you for free. It's like, I don't know, 7 minutes. But I break down the difference in your dating strategy if you don't want to have to deal with a man who doesn't understand this. Now, you 20 years old, a young man probably ain't going to understand this. I'm not hating on my sisters that's a little younger watching this, but this ain't going to help you. There's a specific dating strategy for women who are 40 plus years old. Once you get to a certain level of maturity, you have a certain level of understanding about who you are. You've established your identity. You know how to speak your boundaries, state your boundaries. You know how to do that. You're not the young pup. Every woman goes through that season, but that's not where you're at anymore. You know what you want and you've prepared for it. You can't date like everybody else because you're not like everybody else. But back to what I was saying. To the men, I always see y'all talking about a woman this, a woman that, and every time I always say, well, what's the environment you created for? Does that mean that women can't be accountable? No, don't get me to cussing. No, dude, it just means there is an order to things. Even in the Bible, God said, Adam, where art thou? Eve was the one who bit of the fruit. He said, Adam, where art thou? Not because the man is responsible. It's before we even get to what the feminine energy is on, we got to make sure the environment is set. The environment is set by the man. Why is it that as a man, whenever you want to pursue a woman for sex, you know how to set the environment? You know the right cologne to wear, so she wants to be close to you because you smell good. You know to make sure that you're clean, right? Y'all, just ride with me for a second. When dudes know a woman coming over and we want to have some grown-up time, what a man gonna do? Clean up, he's gonna make sure the toilets and everything is put away. He gonna make sure the bed sheets, if they're not clean, they're gonna smell clean. He gonna make sure there's food and drink and there's all these things. He gonna make sure it's prepared. He gonna make sure there's a playlist. Why is it that we understand how important it is to set that environment up for what we want when it comes to that? This isn't something that's new. But when it comes to the things we want from a woman emotionally, and we want her to give her best self. We want her to be as loving and engaging and hanging on our every word and receptive to our leadership and our mentorship and our direction in life. We want her to do all of those feminine things. We don't understand. The same rules apply. Except it's not music you got to play. It's not just cologne you got to spray. It's an emotional state you have to be in and then create for her. But I'm going to tell y'all something. I've been saying this for a long time. When a man is unhappy with himself, he will project that onto any woman who tries to love him. And he will rob her peace because he can't find his own. In those situations, I always tell dudes, man, her attitude, that's not her personality. That is her customer service response to your trash behavior. Women develop shields when their softness gets consistently weaponized against them. They develop shields. So what you call in her natural state is actually her survival mode around you specifically. She's not naturally defensive or sarcastic or cold. She learned those responses because every time she was sweet, every time she was soft, you took it as permission to be bitter. Every time she showed any type of vulnerability or weakness, you collected it like ammunition for future arguments. Every time she was gentle, you mistook it for stupidity. And so that hardness that you're seeing, that's not who she is. It's who she becomes when dealing with a man who can't handle her softness responsibly. Ladies, if I'm speaking facts, let me know I'm speaking facts, please. If I'm speaking facts, let me know by putting facts down in the comments. Because they going to hear me and say, oh, Derrick going to hating with it. They're going to get in their feelings and all that kind of stuff, and that's fine. But the truth is the truth. The truth is the truth. You can't be her stress and her safe space. That's like being a tornado, but wondering why she won't go outside to dance. Creating chaos, then demanding to be her peace is the emotional equivalent of arson for hire. Safety requires consistency, not just apology flowers after you done burned down her trust. It don't go together. And we claim to be so logical. We the logical ones. Women are emotional. What's logical about that? You start fights during dinner, then expect her to be romantic after dessert. Man, come on. You critique everything about her, from her appearance to how she talks, but then you wonder why she's insecure. You go ghost on this woman days, sometimes even weeks, but you expect her to be excited whenever you reappear and pop up like everything is cool. You asking her to relax in a hurricane while you hold the weather machine. You hold the weather machine. No, she's not going to be relaxed. No, she's not going to be your peace. And you have control over that. Now, discernment time. If a woman has this internal issue you can't solve, that's different. But you don't know that if you haven't resolved the issues you have. You are the tone setter. We have no problem with that as men when it comes to sex. So don't all of a sudden have a problem with it now. Y'all go to the clubs, y'all go to the bars, y'all get your hair cut nice, jewels on, fresh this, get your car washed. You do all the stuff because you want to set the tone. And you want to magnetize a certain energy towards you from that woman, whoever that you think you're going to deal with, from random women. Why is it that when you get a woman fully invested in you, you don't understand the same thing applies? You got to continue to magnetize her towards you. Her femininity blooms in masculine protection, not masculine competition. When you handle your own stress, that's when she can afford to be soft with you. When you dump it on her, you project it on her, that's when she has to be, quote unquote, strong. Real masculine energy from a man creates safe space for feminine energy. Broken masculine competes with it. I don't know if any of you sisters have ever been in a situation, but I can tell you I've seen it with my own two eyes. That when a man does protect a woman from outside drama instead of creating inside drama, that woman can be gentle instead of guerrilla warfare ready. When a man leads with confidence instead of insecurity, that woman can follow with trust instead of preparing for betrayal. But most men are too emotionally fragile to be anybody's safe space. And they need a woman to manage their feelings while providing nothing in return. They're providing nothing in return. Then they want to call that woman high maintenance. But that same woman is low maintenance for a man who doesn't maintain the relationship with dysfunction. Oh, she's easy to love for him. Her behavior isn't just a character trait set in stone. It's a response to your character traits or lack thereof. What seems like her personality is actually a normal reaction to your emotional disorder. So that means she's not difficult. She's difficult to deal with when you're dealing with her poorly. That's what that means. That means that the woman who seems exhausting with you, she's going to become energizing with men who don't exhaust her. Y'all be so insecure. Why are you laughing at this man's jokes? Why are you acting like this around this man? Why you do this? You don't realize what side of her you're bringing out that man is not bringing out of her. That's why she acts all flirty. You call it flirty. You treat the man. I saw something talking about when women treat their pastor and they boss with more respect. Maybe the pastors and the bosses are creating a better environment for your woman. That pastor is creating an environment of affirmation, of recognition of that woman, of empathy. Her boss is creating an environment of provision, of leadership, of direction, acknowledgement. What are you, if you're creating an environment of criticism, uncertainty, emotional, physical, otherwise abuse, yes, she's gonna treat the other men with more. Yeah. The energy she spends managing all of your nonsense, all your chaos, With someone else, it gets invested into building something beautiful. She's not the problem, bruh. You're the environment that creates the problem. Let me say this again. That woman is not the problem. Not here. There are problematic women, but not in this situation. She's not the problem. You're the environment that creates the problem. Which is good news for the man who says, well, let me just stop being a problem. Let me stop creating the environment then. Good. But for the rest of y'all, you can't expect that woman to grow flowers in the emotional desert you created, but then blame her when only tumbleweeds and cacti survive. I want to bring this to the light because I also need my sisters out there to understand how to articulate this in a way that a man understands it. Like y'all know, when you bring your feelings to a man and it checks him and holds him accountable, he loves to deflect and find a way to turn it back around on you. I'm telling you, this is exactly what you can say to him. Demanding femininity, or feminine quality, should I say, while providing masculine toxicity is like demanding swimming in a sandbox. At that point, you created conditions where softness would be self-harm, but then wonder why she's self-protecting. That's what you're doing. Nothing is logical about that. You want her nurturing, but you're being unappreciative. You want her vulnerability, but you're unsafe. You want her support while you're undermining her confidence. You're basically asking her to be a delicate flower in a war zone. But then you're calling her weak when she becomes a warrior instead. So you get to choose when you're with a woman, what version of her do I want? And if you do everything you're supposed to do now, if you are setting the tone, if you are not just faithful in terms of not actually going out and cheating, but you're faithful with your eyes, your attention, your priority, you're faithful. Because people think faithfulness is strictly sexual fidelity. It is not. It is not. Faithful is both priority and exclusivity on anything that belongs to that woman. But if you're compassionate, if you're empathetic, if you hold space, you're doing everything you're supposed to be doing. You focused on your mission, but you're not leaving her behind low on your priority list. You're doing everything you're supposed to be doing. That's whenever you can say, okay, now I need you to get yourself together. I'm throwing you something now. I'm helping you. That's when you can say as a woman, okay, I need you to check any internal things that may be affecting how you receive me. Other than that, you're the problem. Those boundaries that she has with you, they're not walls that won't let any man in. They are quality control for her energy. And you ain't passing the inspection. That's not her blocking love. That's her blocking harm disguised as love. Those standards, they're not barriers. They're filters. So that only the people who understand her value can make their way through. I need y'all to understand this. And again, I always say this, but I need this to be very, very clear. Sisters, I would not advise you to try to go out here and teach a man these things. This is for you to articulate how you feel. And so that man is either going to pee or get off the pot. Or if you're on the dating scene, you're still looking, you can have these kind of conversations if you want to just try to filter. And if you're a woman over the age of 40, I want y'all to understand this. The way that you dated at 20 years old, if there's chemistry and you guys get along well and you like how he looks, that does not work when you get to a certain age. 35 and up, depending on your lived experiences. But I say 40 and up, your dating strategy has to grow the same way that you have. It's like whenever you watched a movie back 20 years ago, you saw it one way, right? Now you have a completely different interpretation. You can enjoy a different type of movie or you can enjoy the movie in a different way. As you interpret things on the dating scene after a certain amount of lived experiences and years here, you can't use the exact same lens to filter through what you're going to entertain, what you're going to accept. And there are two main changes you need to make. I break them down in the best free advice I've ever given to women that are 40 plus. This ain't for women 20 years old, 25, 30. No, I'm not saying I have great stuff for you guys. This ain't for you. For women who are 40 plus years old, who are dating with intention and high standards, there is a specific dating strategy that's going to yield you much better results than what you were getting in your 20s if you use them. And I give it away for free. I put the link down here, but just comment mature. If you're a more mature woman and you're looking for men who are on your level, you're not dating 20-year-old men, 40-year-old and up. Definitely 35, but 40-year-old and up. Comment the word mature. I'll send you the video, but I'll put the link down there in the comments. Your dating strategy should grow with you, and you have the advantage if you use this. But back to what I was saying. And this is the last thing I'm going to pretty much say on it, man. Look, the right man doesn't demand a woman's softness. He doesn't. He can state what he wants. He can state his own boundaries. He can state his value, but he don't demand softness. He's going to create an environment so that hardness is unnecessary. Quality men inspire femininity. Mediocre men demand it, like they're owed it, like they're owed a performance. Real security makes real vulnerability inevitable, not something you have to ask for, force, guilt trip, reason. No, none of that. None of that. That's how that works when you're dealing with a real masculine, healthy man. But you cannot be her stress and her safe space. It don't work like that, bro. And sisters, the right man is not going to demand it from you. He's going to earn it from you. But those are just my thoughts. Y'all know I'm your internet big bro. And hopefully this is of value to you. If it was, keep your money. All I ask is that you pay it forward to somebody else by hitting the little share button. Hit the little arrow down here. Hit the share button. If this was in any way helpful to you, hit the share button so you can bless somebody else. But those are just my thoughts. I'll let y'all later. And again, for those women that are watching, if you are 40 and up, there's something specific that I have for you. It ain't for you 20-year-old sisters. I love y'all, but this ain't going to help you. 40 and up women, there's a way that you can date that will drastically change your results. You cannot date like you did back in the day because you ain't like you was back in the day. Comment the word mature and I'll send you my best free dating advice for women who are 40 plus. Holla at your lady. Y'all be good. Peace.